8 INFJ Truths No One Knows. This is a video about the truths no one speaks, the ones even INFJs rarely say out loud, truths that live behind your eyes, in the secret chambers you rarely let anyone enter, in the parts of you that feel ancient, weathered, and awake. So today, we're diving into the 8 INFJ truths no one knows, truths that might surprise you, comfort you, or even make you feel a little exposed. Because you'll realize someone finally wrote down what you've always felt, but never had the words for. Let's begin. 1 INFJs don't just read people, they absorb them. Here's what most people misunderstand about you. They think you read people the way someone might read a book, scanning lines, observing expressions, piecing together clues. But that's not what happens at all, is it? For INFJs, it's something far deeper, far stranger, and far more overwhelming. You don't read people, you absorb them. Their emotional frequencies slip under your skin. Their intentions pulse in the air around you. Their wounds vibrate at a frequency you feel long before they speak a word. You walk into a room and within seconds, without choosing to, without consciously deciding to tune in, you already know who's hurting, who's pretending, who's secretly angry, who's lonely in a way they don't have language for. You know, and you feel it. And sometimes, and this is the part no one talks about, it's exhausting, because you're not just navigating your own internal landscape, you're holding fragments of everyone else's. Most people will never understand how heavy that can feel. Sometimes you wish you could turn it off. Sometimes you wish you could walk through life with blunt emotional senses, like others do. But you can't. This is how you're wired. And although it's overwhelming, it's also the reason people feel safe with you. Sometimes instantly, sometimes inexplicably. You're the emotional lighthouse they can't explain, but always gravitate toward. 2 INFJs are both old souls and restless spirits. There's a paradox inside you that few ever notice, even those close to you. You carry the energy of an old soul, calm, introspective, deeply reflective, yet inside there is also a restless spirit that refuses to settle for anything that feels meaningless or misaligned. You have this uncanny feeling that you've lived many lifetimes, learned lessons the hard way, and carry wisdom you can't trace back to any book or teacher. But at the same time, you feel like you're running out of time, like your purpose isn't just important, it's urgent, like there is something you're meant to do, someone you're meant to become, a path you're meant to carve through the world. This truth is the reason INFJs often oscillate between two extreme states, the contemplative dreamer and the hungry visionary. You can spend hours lost in introspection, sinking into the depths of meaning, spirituality, identity, and then, without warning, feel an intense surge of determination, a fire to act, create, transform, change something real. But the world often sees only one side. Some think you're too calm to be ambitious. Others think you're too idealistic to be wise. They don't understand you contain both wisdom and hunger, serenity and urgency, stillness and fire. You are both the sage and the seeker, and that duality is not a flaw. It's your signature. 3 INFJs constantly carry the weight of unspoken responsibility. Here is a truth almost no INFJ admits. You feel responsible for things that were never your responsibility in the first place. If someone is hurting, you feel compelled to help. If a friend is breaking down, you become the quiet anchor holding them steady. If a group loses direction, you instinctively step in to restore harmony. Even if you never wanted the role, you take on the emotional load, the invisible task, the subtle tensions, the silent expectations. Not because anyone asked, but because your intuition does it automatically. The responsibility just lands on your shoulders, silently, softly, inevitably. This is why INFJs burn out without realizing it. This is why you sometimes feel inexplicably tired. This is why you retreat suddenly, disappearing into solitude, as if vanishing into your own dimension. The world doesn't see the emotional math you're doing every moment of the day. They don't feel the tension in other people's words like you do. They don't process the undercurrents, contradictions, subtle fractures of connection that you sense intuitively. And you don't just notice these things, you fix them. Often invisibly, often silently, often without recognition. But here's the truth you need to hear. You are not obligated to heal every wound, solve every emotional puzzle, or carry burdens that were never meant to be yours. Your gift is a strength, but even strengths need boundaries. 4. INFJs hide their deepest pain behind their quietest smiles. INFJs have a reputation for being calm, composed, and gentle, and while that's true, the part no one sees is that often, behind that calm exterior, there is pain so deep, so fiercely private, that you would rather swallow it than let anyone see you break. INFJs feel emotions intensely, but when the pain is personal, when it's heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, isolation, you don't lash out. You don't scream. You don't openly bleed. Instead, you retreat into the quiet. You hold the pieces alone. You patch your heart in the dark. Because deep down, you believe your pain is yours to handle. You don't want to burden others. You don't want to be misunderstood. You don't want your vulnerability used against you. So you smile that soft, gentle INFJ smile, even when parts of you feel like they're collapsing. This truth is why INFJs can seem strong to the point of being unbreakable. People assume you're fine, that nothing gets to you, that you're the emotional backbone everyone else can lean on. But inside, you're human, you're sensitive, you're deeply affected by the world, and the only time most people realize you were hurting is when you're already gone. 5. INFJs experience relationships in a completely different dimension. To be in a relationship with an INFJ, whether friendship, romance, or something in between, is to step into a world that many people don't know how to navigate, because you don't connect at the surface level. You never have. You never could. For you, connection is a union of minds, hearts, souls, and futures. It's a merging of meaning, intention, and trajectory. It's not just, do we get along? It's, does this person see me, feel me, understand the universe inside me? INFJs bond in rare, intense, almost cosmic ways. You see people for who they could become. You see their potential, their shadows, their light, their contradictions. And when you care with a depth that scares most people. You give your emotional honesty. You give your intuition. You give your understanding. You give pieces of your inner world you rarely let anyone touch. But here's the truth no one talks about. Because your connections are so deep, you often stay long after you've been hurt, long after you sense the imbalance, long after you knew the relationship no longer aligned with who you are becoming. Why? Because you don't fall for people casually. You don't let people in casually. And you don't let people go casually. Your heart is a sanctuary, and when someone enters it, they leave a mark that lasts a lifetime. 6. INFJs know when people lie, even when they pretend not to. There's a quiet superpower INFJs rarely acknowledge aloud. You know when someone's lying. You always know. Maybe it's the shift in their tone. Maybe it's the micro-expression flickering across their face. Maybe it's the way their emotional energy suddenly goes off-key. Maybe it's the sudden emptiness in their words. Whatever it is, you pick up on it instantly. Your intuition rings like an alarm, subtle, quiet, but unmistakable. But here's the part people don't know. INFJs rarely confront lies head-on. You don't expose people. You don't humiliate them. You don't force honesty out of them. Instead, you watch, you observe, you adjust, you emotionally withdraw without making a sound. You respond with compassion, even when you see through deception. You give people a chance to correct themselves. You allow them to feel safe enough to choose honesty. But if they don't, if they continue to manipulate, mislead, or disrespect your intuition, you quietly shut the door. Not loudly, not dramatically, just silently, decisively, permanently. And once an INFJ's door closes, it rarely reopens. 7. INFJs are simultaneously the most hopeful and the most disillusioned personality type. There is a contradiction within you that's difficult to explain, even to yourself. On one hand, you have a wellspring of hope that never seems to run dry. You believe in people. You believe in transformation. You believe in humanity's capacity for good, even when the evidence falls short. Your idealism is not naive, it's intentional. It is a choice, a fierce, stubborn act of internal rebellion against a world that often values selfishness and cynicism. But on the other hand, you carry a deep, aching disappointment in the world. Not the dramatic, pessimistic kind, but the quiet kind. The kind that comes from seeing what people could be and watching them settle for something less. INFJs are constantly grappling with disillusionment. The world is loud where it should be gentle, cruel where it should be compassionate, chaotic where it should be thoughtful. You see the gap between reality and possibility, and that gap hurts. This duality creates a kind of emotional whiplash. You are hopeful enough to dream, but experienced enough to doubt. You are idealistic enough to envision change, but realistic enough to know how slow and painful the process will be. Most people pick one side. You carry both, and that is the burden and the beauty of being an INFJ. 8 INFJs have a hidden transformation moment no one knows about. Every INFJ, at some point in their life, experiences a moment, a quiet, private internal event that changes everything. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's not something others notice. But it is the moment you shift, the moment you awaken, the moment you step into the next version of yourself. Sometimes it happens after heartbreak, sometimes after betrayal, sometimes after a period of isolation, so deep it feels like sinking into the bottom of your own psyche. But whatever triggers it, something inside you realigns. You stop people-pleasing. You stop explaining yourself. You stop carrying other people's emotional weight. You stop silencing your intuition, and you start becoming the INFJ you were always meant to become. The powerful, intuitive, visionary force that no longer hides, no longer overextends, no longer apologizes for being intense, perceptive, sensitive, or unconventional. After this moment, people say things like, "You've changed. You're quieter now. You're stronger now. You feel different." But the truth is, you didn't change. You returned to yourself. And anyone who was benefiting from your unhealed, overly accommodating version will feel the shift the hardest. This moment of transformation is the INFJ's rebirth. And once it happens, there is no going back. These are the truths most people will never know about you. Not because they aren't there, but because INFJs live life behind a kind of emotional veil that only a few ever truly see through. If these truths resonated, it's because they were written for the part of you that rarely feels seen, the part you almost never reveal, the part that is deeper, wiser, more aware, more sensitive, and more powerful than you allow the world to witness. And if you're watching this, you are not alone. You are not too much. You are not misunderstood because you're broken. You're misunderstood because you perceive at a depth most people will never experience in their lifetime. You are the rarest personality type for a reason. Not because you're better, but because your inner world is vast, intricate, and unbelievably rich. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being who you are. If you want more videos like this, subscribe, share, and let me know you're out there. Because INFJs are rare, but you're never as alone as you feel.